5, 4.
Hey everybody, I'm Jim,
I'm Eric.
and this is Kicking It with Jim and Eric.
Yes, it is.
We're back.
Man, we've been a couple of weeks gone.
I was thinking about that today. We've been out, actually, for a couple of weeks.
And you know why? Because the last 2 Sundays, we always do our podcast after Sunday morning service. The last 2 Sunday mornings, we've had some sort of a meeting, something, and it's kind of knocked our time down. But we've got that out of the way, so we're
back.
Here we are, back.
And-
We're back.
And I guess it's good that we have meetings. That means that we're handling business.
That's true. We do
Things
have
are-
meetings.
Things
Yes.
are happening.
Things are
moving.
happening that need meetings.
Yes. Churches need to have meetings.
Yeah, sometimes.
I mean, we have our different departments, I guess is what we would call it.
Ministries.
Have different ministries inside the ministry.
There you go, yeah.
And so, it's good that we all kind of let the right hand know what the left hand's doing.
Yes,
Everybody's on the same page.
yes,
Keeps us in check,
yes,
accountable.
exactly.
And so, it's good.
All
And-
those.
And as we're growing, because we are growing,
We are growing.
we talked about this the other day, you go back 6-7 months ago, and then you look now, and not just in numbers.
Oh,
6 months ago spiritually, 6 months
Yeah.
later,
Yeah.
how the church has grown.
Yeah.
And it's,
And it's happening all around.
is it ever?
Yeah, it's
Is it
happening
ever?
all around. Churches everywhere are talking about their young people and their numbers are up and attendance is up, and that's a good thing.
It is. And I think this is why we have been really big on making sure that we don't keep our generation and our age group, we're not keeping what we have, what we know. We're not keeping decisions just on us.
Oh, yeah.
That
They go-
we are trying to include this younger
Exactly, because they're going to have to get used to making those decisions
group soon,
one day.
probably sooner than what we
They're
what
going
we
to have to
realize.
know how to make budgets and all those kind of things
Mhm.
that go behind the scenes of a church that
Yes.
you don't see happening.
And even small things like business meetings,
Yeah,
how to conduct a business
how to
meeting.
conduct a business meeting.
Those are things that our public schools, we're not going to get on that today,
Yeah.
but it's one thing that our public schools really don't ever talk about.
No, I mean,
And parliamentary procedures, what we called it when I was in FAA.
yeah, Robert's Rule of Orders, all that order.
Order, yes,
Yeah.
exactly right. So,
We kind of at our meetings we follow those guidelines, but not strictly.
right,
You know what I'm saying? We have order, but we have a different.
process.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's not as stiff and
Right. We had to, and when I was in FFA, we had to, it's part of our grade,
oh
was
yeah,
knowing parliamentary procedure.
really,
I can't remember any of it now, except I make a motion, I
so like
second.
civics or something.
It was just how to conduct meetings,
Okay,
when to make motions, when to second, when to table.
right.
I had no idea then how important it'd be later. I wish I would have paid attention a little more.
You know, that motion to adjourn is always one that you get everybody in the meeting raises their
You
hand.
get
I
a-
need a meeting to adjourn. Everybody raises
You
their
get a
hand.
lot of amens on that one.
Ooh,
don't you? Second,
Yeah.
second.
Yeah. You
Yeah.
can't figure out which one to use. Yeah,
Man, this week we was in the book of John,
we was.
chapter 10,
Yes.
and title of your message was Fences.
Fences.
Yeah. And, when you gave me the title, I was kind of, sometimes I don't,
Understand?
I don't know
Where's he
exactly where
going
the
with
message
it?
is going with it. I look at the title and I'm like, well, fences, what are we keeping in or what are we keeping out?
Yeah.
And it was a great illustration how the kind of my thought and your message can come together.
Yeah.
This is talking about when you're trying to get out and our electric fences
Yeah.
and things that are going to keep us inside.
Yeah.
And there's times when we have to leave our fence to go to the field.
Yeah.
And then there's times when we have to come back.
Yeah. Well, and there's things that keep us fenced in. I mean, I think if there was an underlining message to the whole sermon Sunday morning, it would have been what is keeping us. Because let's face it, we're human, And sometimes we are headstrong and we push against God, just like cattle or whatever livestock you have. Sometimes they push the boundaries, they push against the fence. And that's where we are as children of God. Sometimes we push the boundaries and we get up close to the fence, and sometimes we get out. Sometimes what I'm saying by that is we get out of God's will sometimes. But,
Easily.
When we're at home, when we're kids, our parents set guidelines, these rules,
Right.
and they keep boundaries and they keep us in check uh, for our own good. Can't go here, can't go there, can't talk to this person, be in bed by then, be home by whenever. All those things that help to shape us into the grown person that we are, hopefully.
And I remember you're talking about you can't go here, can't go there. I remember growing up, I wasn't allowed to go outside of my little hometown,
Yeah.
Linden.
Yeah.
I couldn't go to Atlanta. If I did, it was special. And there's no way you're going to Texarkana, which at that time was almost an hour.
Well, our little hometown was, if you went anywhere, you was going out of town.
Yeah, right. You were making a trip.
That's right.
You didn't make a trip to town. You had to make a trip out of town.
I mean, because if you moved any direction, you was going out of town.
Yeah.
You were already out of town.
and not very far. either.
Dude.
No, I get that.
But anyway, I didn't mean to
No.
distract you
But-
from your
but,
original thought there.
But you're exactly right. And we talked about how in biblical days there really wasn't a lot of fences. There was a shepherd,
That's right.
and he came out.
Yeah.
He kept us in our boundaries.
Yeah.
Or he kept the sheep in the boundaries. Excuse me.
Yeah.
And then at the end of the day, we come back.
Mhm.
And when I was listening to you, I kind of thought about how this was a lot the way church is.
Yeah.
On Sundays, we come here, we get fed, even though we should graze during the week.
Yeah.
We come here, we get fed, we eat.
Yep.
And then we go back out into that open field.
That's
again.
right. For the
And-
wolves.
For the wolves, exactly. And we get ready
Yeah.
for that shepherd to call us back.
Yeah.
And sometimes, just like many parables, we are that one in the 100 that waves off, and the shepherd has to come get us. And the analogy of the fences was really, really good for me this past week, because I know so many times, man, I've gotten out.
Oh, yeah.
I jumped the hot wire.
Yeah.
And went to the other side just to find myself
Yeah.
in danger
Right.
of what the world has to offer.
Well, going back to the text, in biblical times, or in the times that the Bible was writing about in Israel, and it was a cultural, agricultural atmosphere, and Jesus used those analogies a lot. Jesus used analogies that the people around him he was speaking to would easily pick up on.
Right.
So he was talking to a group of shepherds and, and people that had sheep and livestock and stuff. So he used the analogy of, the sheep being in the fence. He said, I am the gate, So what they would do is at night they kept them pinned up, in the sheep pen, but during the day the shepherd would open the gate and he would call them out by name, or
Mhm.
call them, and the sheep would recognize his voice, follow him out, and they'd graze in the pasture all day, and in the evening come back. So Jesus said, "My sheep hear my voice. They won't go to somebody else, and anybody who comes through into the fence other than going through the gate is a thief or a robber." So.
Mhm.
And then he goes on to talk about how the good shepherd will sacrifice his life for the sheep, but the hireling, the hired hand, the man that's in it for the money, he's going to run the first sign of a wolf. And we see that today, unfortunately, in churches.
Yeah.
It's not really extremely hard to spot a hireling.
Once you've been trained, it's easy to find them out there.
Yeah.
When I say trained, I don't mean that we're some sort of expert, but once you start being able to recognize, that's when it's coming to destroy, to separate, to cause chaos and wreak havoc and kill what's good.
Well,
You see it.
yeah. Well, I mean, once you recognize the voice of the good shepherd,
Yes,
then you can more easily recognize the hireling.
that's right.
It's just like, we don't know if something's a lie if we don't know the truth.
That's it.
So these days we live in, it makes me wonder how many of the guys behind the pulpit are just a hireling, or are they the good shepherd that would sacrifice and lay down his life
Right.
for the sheep?
And, going back again to what you was talking about in the message, you started bringing up AI. And I think was it this past week or the week before
last week
we were talking about AI.
Oh,
and
that's scary.
and how we can have AI, and I'll just use Billy Graham for example. They can take use Billy Graham's voice, and have him teach a false message. And unless we stay in the Word, then we're going to take it for full face value of what we just saw on social media platforms, to wherever AI may be presenting itself. And I think this is why it's so good that Jesus said, "You're going to have to know my voice. You're going to have to know my word, because there are going to be instances out here. There are going to be things that happen. But you're not going to be able to tell the difference unless you know my voice."
Well, let's look at it in this sense. The Bible tells us that the Antichrist is coming.
Yes.
Now, I think most people just automatically assume that the Antichrist is a physical human person.
Mm-hmm.
What if it's AI? What if AI is the beginning of the spirit of the Antichrist?
Right.
Because they can, just like you said, they can project things that look so real that aren't.
Right.
I don't know if you've seen or not the prank that they got going around with the homeless guy in the homes. They send whoever the owner of the home is, they'll send him a video of a old homeless guy laying on their bed or sitting down eating their food, and it's just AI.
And it's AI.
Yeah.
When AI first started, and of course, we've seen how fast it's maturing and developing. When AI first started, you could hear little things in the audio that go, okay, that's AI. Or you'd see
just a little glitch. But now,
I saw one the other day, and it's not that I'm necessarily proud that I saw it, but I saw it. It was Mr. Rogers, and it was Mr. Rogers and Tupac. And I'm sitting here going, if I didn't know better, I would say that Tupac really showed up on Mr. Rogers' show.
Oh, it's crazy.
And they had this conversation.
Yeah.
Well, as far-fetched as we know that is, what happens when we get these social media pastors? And not getting into megachurch
I know what you're saying
today, but what happens if we get, you and I watch pastors on social media platforms, and we watch them, and somebody comes in with AI, and we don't read the word, we don't study, we just get all of our messages from online.
Hey, there's contemporary Christian music out there right now that was written by AI.
Yes, sir.
No author, no writer.
There's no
AI came up with the song lyrics and the music.
ChatGPT said, "Hold on, I got this."
Yeah.
Let me tell you about it.
Yep.
And we had this discussion in the group message the other day. It's not so much that maybe these messages are bad.
No.
But what happens when we're trying to do spirit-led songs and worship that are not spirit-filled? And these things bother me as a worship leader. You and I have had this conversation. These things bother me because when I grabbed that and I said, man, that AI song was really good. I loved the lyrics. I love the beat. I love the music. I love everything about it. It's in the right key. We don't have to change keys this week. And then I bring it out, and then I project this non-spirit song to our congregation.
Well, I think you and I both agree that this whole deal with AI is just the tip of the iceberg that we're seeing. I think I see so many bad things and evil things coming of this, and then I hate to go back to Terminator, but I'm looking for Sarah Connor, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I mean, it just like the guy said in the movie, it has no feeling, it has no sense of pity, it won't, and it absolutely will not stop. So what are we going to do and the thing about it is, when AI gets started, when it gets boom, when they decide to full-fledged, here we go, there's no stopping it because it's out there.
Yep.
It's just like when you put on a Facebook message and you're saying, well, I wish I hadn't put that on there, and you delete it. Too late. It's still out there.
It still lingers.
It's there.
Yeah. And all the crazy sci-fi movies we watched in the 80s and 90s, we're starting to watch this unfold as crazy as we thought it was then. And this thing is steadily taking off.
I'm telling you.
And just like the devil works, it's funny, it's silly, it's crazy.
Yeah.
It's
it can't
innocent.
never happen. You're worrying over nothing.
Exactly. And then next thing you know, you're 6 months later into watching these videos, and before you realize it, you're getting these false teachings in your mind.
That's right.
And 6 months after that, a year after that, you find yourself, I really don't need to go to church because I watched this deal the other day.
Yeah.
And it said, You don't have to be in a sanctuary around other believers to worship God. You can go do wherever you want to.
Well, check this out. One day you're sitting at the house and you hear, and the police is knocking at your door because they got a video of you in some act of violence, killing somebody or robbing somebody or something like that. A video of you while you're sitting at the house, and know anything about it. Well, they got a video. I don't know if there's any kind of way they can go back and look at all that and tell if it's AI. Hopefully they can.
Right.
But I mean, and it looked real.
And it's getting to this.
Yeah.
It's really, really
They're going to perfect it in a way where you're not going to be able to tell if it's AI or the real thing.
Exactly right. And I think we're doing the same thing with we don't like the R word, but they're doing the same thing with religion.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you what, let's scratch religion. They're doing the same thing with Christianity.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And they're bringing just enough into it
Yes.
to get the young believers, kind of like the kindergartners of believers, and they're grabbing them just enough to give them all the bad things, but still make it taste good, feel good, look good.
It's going to come to a time, and the Bible tells us this, that the only source of truth is going to be Scripture.
Yep.
If you don't have a copy of the Bible, then you're not going to know if you're getting truth or not.
Exactly.
I mean, you might look on your phone or Google something, but that doesn't necessarily mean that, and if you don't know Scripture and you're a young person, or I'm talking about a young Christian, somebody who's just come to Christ, and they don't know Scripture, they're not educated in the Bible, then they're going to just about fall for anything.
Right.
I mean, they're going to see something on AI or something in Google that's completely wrong that may be just a minuscule off. Those are the ones that are bad. The ones that are just a little bit off. I mean, if it's way off, you can easily spot that.
Right.
But when it's just right there, then it can throw off your whole belief
You
system.
better believe it. And look what Satan did when he was with Jesus. The first thing he'd love to do is go, "Hey, didn't Daddy tell you? Remember when Daddy said this? Remember in the Bible when Daddy said this?" And he'd turn around and try to use the same scripture that Jesus was using against Satan. Satan tried to use against Jesus.
That's right.
And of course, obviously Jesus knew. But for us who are not as educated as Jesus, I'll go on and admit my faults.
You better know it is written.
You have to. You have to, because if not, you're going to fall into that trap.
That's right.
And it's dangerous because that can cause separation from
And
God.
Scripture even talks about how God's going to, turn them over to a depraved or reprobate mind, and that He's going to allow them to believe a lie, a delusion or whatever. This AI, first off, there's no such thing, in my opinion, as artificial intelligence.
Right.
I mean, the only intelligence there is something that a man gave it.
Yes.
A computer is only as smart as the data that's put in it.
Yep.
Can they evolve into something?
It feels like that's what's happening. I mean, I would like to say no,
Yeah.
but we watch the development, just like we was talking about our church growing in the past 6 months. AI is growing right there.
And it may not evolve, but even this phone knows trends. I mean, you go to start picking a certain kind of music or something to that effect, then it's going to start having pop-ups or something that's designed for what you like. So it does, I say it may not necessarily evolve, but it does pick up trends, and how they do that, I don't know.
And, just like sometimes our conversations we have on the phone, near the phone, by the phone, you hear a lot of people talk about, the other day, me and so-and-so was talking about hunting or whatever.
Exactly.
And the next thing you know, you got deer hunting videos popping up on in your
Hey,
reels.
it
on
happens.
Facebook.
It happened to me here. I don't know, a couple of weeks ago, a couple of guys at work, we were talking about an old Johnny Paycheck song. Who says Johnny Paycheck anymore? All it took was one time. I got 3 or 4 pop-ups, Johnny Paycheck. And I'm like, you tell me. That's Big Brother.
That's some Big Brother.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly right. And, this is one of the things that we push a lot is making sure that you get plugged into a church.
Yeah, exactly.
Bible-believing church, a
Yes.
Bible-teaching church.
A good shepherd.
A good shepherd church. Many times you've heard us talk about, we both have been in and around churches where we've seen pastors never crack a Bible. Not telling you to run out the door, but we are saying maybe walk quietly out the door if they're not opening a Bible.
I don't know. You may have to run.
You may need to run, right, and not teach them from the Word. Yeah. So if you're in the northwest corner of Louisiana, the southwest corner of Arkansas, or the northeast corner of Texas, please come by and see us here in Vivian, Louisiana. If you're watching from a long ways away, I promise you there is a church on a corner not far from you. 'Cause
Get plugged in.
there's churches almost
There-
everywhere
you
now.
can't throw a rock and not hit a, break a window of a church.
Exactly. Find it. Make sure they're Christ centered and they're Bible believing, and then start to grow in God.
That's right. Exactly.
I'm Jim,
I'm Eric.
and this is Kicking It with Jim and Eric.